G'day and welcome back to the channel, Ginger Ninja's Movie Reviews. I am the Ginger Ninja and these are my Trashy Tuesday movie reviews. Now, if you're anything like me, you think trashy, immediately you go back to the 80s because that was peak trashy film. And trashy doesn't mean bad, by no means. You can get your really bad trashy films, but you can also get these fantastic films that are trashy. And that just means whilst they don't have the biggest budget, the acting may not be as good. The special effects are generally pretty damn good because they put a lot of heart and effort into these films. But these trashy films have a certain something that sets them apart. They're not your big budget films. They're nothing like that. They just have a certain je ne sais quoi about them. But this week we are looking at Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers from 1988. Now, you may be wondering, why am I doing Sleepaway Camp 2 and not Sleepaway Camp? Well, my good friends Goraphobe and JT did a deep dive discussion on that, so make sure you check that out and check out their channels. Great guys, great channels, definitely worth your time. So, anyway, we are looking at Sleepaway Camp 2, like I said. Now, this film was directed by Michael A. Simpson. It stars Pamela Springsteen, Renee Estevez, Valerie Hartman, Brian Patrick Clark, Susan Marie Snyder, and Walter Gotell. Now, before I get into the plot, I do want to say a big thank you to all my new and existing subscribers. Seriously, thank you very much for joining me on this journey of these trashy films. They're a lot of fun, and I'm really digging going back and revisiting some of these absolute classics from a bygone era. So yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying it too. But let's get into the plot. So this is direct from IMDb. A sex change slasher returns as a camp counselor. Yeah, I mean, that plot right there, what more can you say? It's pretty accurate, to be honest, and it is pretty much that. This film picks up from the cult classic Sleepaway Camp, but it shifts the tone significantly and follows a more conventional slasher plot with a lot less emphasis on psychological horror compared to the original, and more on the typical slasher tropes that we've come to know and love. Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Camps is one of those classic cheesy slasher films that feels like a time capsule from the 80s horror scene with unabashed homages to horror icons, which you can see a couple behind me. And I'll discuss them later on, but look, the movie picks up years after the events of the first film, introducing us to Baker, the killer from the original, who has undergone gender reassignment surgery and is now working as a counselor at a new camp under the alias Angelajohnson. Now, I'm sure there is a joke in there somewhere. But Angela herself is oddly cheerful and disturbingly strict about campers following certain rules. And that's where the trouble starts. Okay, so let's have a look at the cast. And the characters are your typical slasher fare. You've got horny teenagers, your nice girl, the jock, the rebel, and of course, the morally uptight Angela. The dialogue between these characters is cheesy, the acting is overly exaggerated, and the whole thing feels like it's made with a wink and a nod to the audience. Pamela Springsteen taking over the role from felissarose is a very different Angela, but her performance is one of the highlights of this film. She brings a particular blend of sweetness and menace to the role that makes her both likable and, at the same time, terrifying. It's her ability to oscillate between the bubbly camp counselor and the cold-blooded killer that adds a layer of dark humor to the narrative. The rest of the cast do a fine job. You know, it's nothing we haven't come to expect from this kind of film. And like I said, it's simply cheesy, exaggerated fun. Now, onto the directing and the writing. So this film actually lacks the atmospheric tension and suspense that are hallmarks of effective horror, But that is mostly due to Michael A. Simpson bringing a lighter, more comedic approach to the horror elements. And it makes it stand out from your typical slasher fare. And look, that may steer some viewers away from it, but it also brings more viewers in. It's a catch-22 situation. The pacing of the film is quite quick, so it does move from scene to scene very quickly, and it keeps you engaged because each scene is leading to the next kill scene, and that's what you're waiting for. But it does result in sacrificing some deeper storytelling between the characters. The kills, they are the centerpiece of any slasher film, and this one is no exception. They're written creatively, but they do come off as more comedic rather than terrifying. And yeah, if you're looking for a straightforward slasher, this could undermine the intent. Now, as I mentioned, the kills are creative and over the top, and they range from death by electric drill to a particularly memorable outhouse drowning, which I couldn't review this movie without mentioning a watch along I did with the Night Watch Zone and Craven Something Scary. And I gotta say, poop leeches. A little while back we did this watch along, and this was one of the standout moments of the watch along. Great watch along, don't get me wrong, but man, this scene, the outhouse drowning scene, was stomach churning to say the least. It was a lot of fun though. Look, this film has blood splashing everywhere. Guts are being torn out. It's fun and gruesome, and it perfectly suits the film's tone. Now, rewatchability. This film is packed with pop culture references and even a few homages to other horror movies. You can see it here. Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger's glove. You even have a little bit of a throw-in with Leatherface, with the chainsaw and the human skin mask. And that just adds to the fun factor of this film. It's got plenty of 80s cheese, it's got gratuitous nudity, and it's just a lot of fun. This is a great one to go back and revisit, especially if you have a strong stomach for that outhouse scene. Okay, so final thoughts on this film. Look, this is a solid sequel that really delivers exactly what you'd expect from an 80s slasher. Blood, laughs, and a whole lot of campy fun. But that's also part of the reason why it doesn't sit well with a lot of people, I guess, because of that comedic tone. You go into an 80s slasher, you're not actually expecting a lot of comedic elements to it. Looking back on it now, yes, we do see that, but back then, maybe not. So, I don't know, I'd still find it a whole lot of fun to watch, and the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously is just part of its charm. It's everything you'd expect from a low-budget horror flick, or what I've come to expect from low-budget horror flicks of that era, and that's kills, nudity, and cheese. What more do you want? It's like a slasher pizza. Just add some pineapple to it. Overall, for a score, I would give Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, also known as Nightmare Vacation 2, a 7 out of 10. So there you have it. That is my review of Sleepaway Camp 2. Am I being too generous with this film? Am I not? Am I being too harsh, too generous? Let me know. What do you think of this film? Let me know down in the comments below. I love hearing all your thoughts about these movies, whether you like them, whether you dislike them. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know. Love to hear your thoughts. So look, before I go, I did mention a few channels in this film. I'll make sure I pop their links down below. Definitely check out Goraphobe, JT, The Night Watch Zone, Craven Something Scary. These are all great channels, great people. Highly recommend you check them out. Subscribe to them if you haven't already as well. Definitely. And check out check out all their reviews. The deep dives that Goraphobe's doing. JT's got the top 1,000 kills coming out, putting a lot of work into that. Actually, really fantastic work. Night Watch Zone, Craving Something Scary. They're great. So I can't say enough about these channels, so make sure you do check them out. Anyway, I'm blathering on. If you haven't already, do hit that thumbs up button, be much appreciated. And also subscribe to my channel for future content and to check out more Trashy Tuesday reviews. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you're notified every time I do release a new review. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me.